what can you do? Forget the certifications and degrees. What can you do and what have you done?
And you're saying those two questions are the more central ones that any individual, he or she, should be asking before either they apply, or just those two should be the sort of like North Star kind of guiding lights in terms of how these companies are actually recruiting, or if you're interested in
Forget the companies.
Okay.
This is the North Star for your life.
Okay.
What can you do and what have you done?
Okay.
These are the two things that if you focus on, the companies become irrelevant.
Okay. So it's sort of like going in and out of these positions as being just a sense of like gathering experience. It's more like you're the consistency here. You're at the end of the, do you think that question applies just to people who outright at first are prepared to start their startups, or like the general consensus that I've heard amongst people who are in the tech space, or those whose dream it is to like secure internships in the Valley or with startups, is their end goal is just to have that on their LinkedIn, you know, like I am a software I think it's the idea of the experience though, right? The idea of building some sort of credibility when it comes to eventually securing investment or securing capital for your own startup down the road, right?
I guess. I don't know. My brain just doesn't think like that.
Okay.
You know, like I get that path, you know, you go and you spend all this time going through all these hoops to get investment, so on and so forth and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why don't you just focus on your own cash flow?
Okay. So generate multiple streams of income that you can utilize to your moonshot project or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about some of the biggest projects today. One of the biggest projects today started out with some of the simplest pieces of code. Twitter. Some of the simplest piece of code. You know, there's a lot of people, for example, Craigslist. It's a multi-million-dollar company. Like, how simple was that code to put together? Like, they haven't revamped ever.
Yeah, their UI looks
they got a UI that looks straight out of 1990 something.
HTML in the background, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're still revving millions. Why?
Okay.
You know, so it's like find a problem and solve it, you know? If you need funding for a project, you probably don't have a good idea.
Okay.
Look at Gumroad, right? Like Gumroad never needed startup capital.
No.
Never. In fact, they invest in other businesses because they started small with a great idea, solved the need in the market, and scaled based upon revenue. Right? Like, go build something. You know, you got kids who will pop up a doggy website, spend 30 minutes a day creating Pinterest posts, and that'll rev 6 figures. Yeah, it's something a 16-year-old can do straight out of high school. While they're in high school, you can start up a little doggy blog, a little recipe blog, and revenue off of Google AdSense, you know, and grab partnerships. You got people blowing up on Twitch. You could be a YouTuber, you know, like I just don't get the mentality of going to ask people for things when, you know, you have the biggest hack in life, which is this device. You can learn anything. You know, you can go work at Walmart and retire in 10 years, right? All you got to do is dollar cost average into the stock market. Stay at home with your parents. Don't get a girl and don't party.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I understand people have these dreams of working at these big tech startups. My dream is to compete with them.
Very true. Yeah.
You know, I just don't get that mentality, which is why it's hard for me to give people advice.